back here. Main event type pay-per-view with a lot of anticipation going into this one. You have Dustin Poirier's retirement bout, shedding a tear on this one. It hurts to see one of the greats, his career come to an end. Is it going to be a Cinderella story? I don't know. There's not a lot of name value coming up in the UFC. There's a couple names here and there, but it's not like it used to be. So when you see a guy like Dustin Poirier or anyone along this type of pedigree, you're gonna get sad. You don't want anyone to lose this type of fight. You look at this fight with Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier, and you don't want an L on either side of their records. But you got to see it unless they draw somehow. Talking about last week, we'll go back to the card, the UFC Nashville. We had another phenomenal card. A lot of the reads that we had in the podcast, which was butchered because I didn't have the desktop audio, so I had to run back. A lot of those reads, you have to be in the gyms. You have to see what's going on after weigh-ins, after face-offs. Because, I switched from Taliesin to Shera to Derek Lewis around 6, 7 p.m. that day, Eastern time. Signaled it in the cord. Cleaned them. Derek Lewis had abs. Cleaned them. Just stuff like that. You see face-offs. At the end of the day, the plays aren't really cemented until we see these guys face off and they're on the scale. So anything you hear here, yeah, you can hear the stylistic matchups and what should happen, but the guys could show up out of shape, dying, like Cheaty. I was on Jake Matthews anyway, but Cheaty looked like he was going to die on the scales. Shit like that. But without further ado...
So we're just putting a disclaimer out that you need to follow through the whole program in order to get the whole picture. Like Mike said, at about 7 o'clock last weekend, I had overlooked this a little bit, but Derek Lewis, I would have said he weighed 245, 250 pounds. He came out at 261 and had abs and got a 50-second knockout. So Mike is just saying, we explained that through the podcast last week that there was a possibility of Derek Lewis getting the KO. It's always good to see the fighters after they weigh in. What condition are they in and what mental state are they in? So disclaimer.
Yep. Without further ado, we'll get right into this bout. We'll mention that our podcast collab came to an end. We fell for the Toffa trap and also Taliesin Teixeira. Can't hurt because we were not picking Tuco Tuco, so it's whatever. We'll live and we'll learn. We had a really good card again. Another 3-4 in a row of really solid, strong cards. And hopefully this is another one. We have a main event or pay-per-view here. I don't know if it's pay-per-view worthy, but I guess we'll see. Without further ado, we'll start this one off with Carly Judice versus Nicole Caliari. I remember handicapping Caliari in her last bout. It ended up being a close one. She was a dog of that one too. We were looking at it. This is one of those early fights on the card. They're usually low level. You have Carly Judice, softball background, starting to come into her own here as a fighter. She's pretty well rounded with the striking. She does have submissions in her arsenal as well. Then you have Nicole Caliari, absolutely jacked, by the way, and some DSLs on her, but absolutely jacked. We'll see if she looks the same this way. She has an extensive background. Her father was involved in, I believe, karate or one of the striking arts, and had her involved from a really young age. She's very physically strong, which might be a factor in this one with the clinching and stuff. But overall, I look at this fight. I'm not running to the counter for any line here. It could be. There's a couple reads that I have here. I think Caliari can make this one close with her clinching. I think she has the slight disadvantage in the technicality of her striking. She is good. They are pretty even of a fighter, or even fighters. I don't like the minus 334 line on Carly Judice. I don't think she's done anything to warrant that type of implied probability. That's up in the range of 75%ish implied. I'm not liking that at all. Nicole Cagliari +7. I think this fight's going the distance is the first point I'm trying to make. I think it's going to be one. These girls both have split decisions in the record. I think we might have one of these close bouts again. I don't see either of them getting finished. I don't see Caliari getting subbed here. I'm not seeing any finishes here. To go the distance is around minus 200 on DraftKings. That's a nice parlay piece. Um, Especially you're getting that at a discount when you usually see these women's fights teetering on like minus 400 to go to the distance. Now you're getting a minus 200 line for that. I also like Caliari plus 7.5 alt spread on DraftKings. That's around minus 185. The plus 3.5, like think plus 100 even, but you never know. You can play a little bit safer. Those are just some lines I'm looking at. I think my overall slight lean on Carly Judice via decision. Lotto wise though, you can also rock with split decision lines. Caliari by split decision plus 1200, and Carly Judice by split decision around plus 550. So I think it'll be a contested bout, and it's closer than the line shows. Can't fault you for taking Caliari if you are. Um, Especially when it's a 50-50 bout and you got a plus 250 price tag. That's always nice. This might be another live line type of fight. You see how the striking or the physical strength of Cagliari is working in the first period, and if she can't establish that clinch work or she's getting chewed up, you can take a live play. But Judas probably gonna get juiced in the middle of the fight. I'm just gonna lean with Judas by decision. That's around plus 105 ish, but not a line that I love whatsoever. How do you feel about this one, Unc? Because I know you love your woman's MMA.
I just have of ability. I don't know. What do you want me to say? But Carly Judice comes from a straight. I did research into her school because her last fight she won by head kick, and like her school is called like MMA head kicks or something like that. Also, her shirt literally says like Thai head kicks or like Thai MMA or something on it. So um, the school I reached because I researched the fighter in the school, and I think Carly Judice all around is like going to try to strike. She does have some grappling, but and you go over to Kalahari, she shot 14 takedown attempts in her last fight. So like yes, she does have striking, but she's primarily trying to clinch and grapple, and you know, so like what do I think is going to happen? Jesus. The fight to not go the distance is plus 150. Honestly, I can see Nicole Caliari just like overpowering Carly Judice and then, controlling her on the ground and maybe getting her in a sub. But at the same time, I can see Nicole Caliari being too overzealous on takedowns and getting, I mean, from what I saw, Carly Judice is just training a whole boatload of striking. So being overzealous on a takedown can get you caught. What I'm going to do for betting wise is I'm going to take the fight to not go the distance at plus 150. And then, like, to not pick a fighter, but just pick the split decision is plus 380. So if the third outcome, if it's a unanimous decision, I'm just going to probably take an L on that. But unanimous decision, yes or no, is minus 115 both ways. But like you said, it's the first fight, so you get that jitters. So like they want to go, but at the same times, it's girls. So it's like what we have that statistic, but how many of them go to decisions? It's like a crazy statistical number that we have. I just can't pull it up right now. So that's how I'm going to play the card is like I do see a slim margin for those victory paths in those two ways, but I don't see either one like dominating the other one if it's going to be a decision. So I'm going to play the split, and that's my thoughts.
How about how about how are you feeling, Hot
Yeah,
Man?
I definitely don't hate your guys' takes. I think Judas is going to have the striking advantage for sure. She's definitely way more technical on the feet than Calari. But I do worry about Calari's grappling because I think she has a clear advantage. She's going to have a size advantage. Even when you look at Judas's record, she's only 4-2 as a pro mixed martial artist. So that kind of scares me as well. Like, how are you going to be minus 325 and you only had 6 pro fights? So with odds, I like Caliari plus 250. I'm hesitant on playing round props because they only lose decisions. Neither of them have ever won a decision. So if you take the under or the over, I think it's risky. But based on odds, I like Caliari. But you could even get Caliari at plus 7.5, and that was only minus, I believe, 180. So I think that's a solid parlay piece because she has the grappling advantage and she likes to do clinch work. I could see her winning a round easily based on the clinch and the grappling. If she gets her stuck on the ground, I think she's also very live for a sub. I did look into her method of victory double chance for sub/decision, but it's only plus 275, and her main money line is plus 270, so there's no real point in that. But I do like Calari's money line at plus 270 or plus 250, but or plus 270, I think it was on
Yeah, I'm
DK.
looking
But
right now. She's moving up. These lines are from Bet365 earlier, so they're probably not as accurate.
yeah, but like I was saying, I like her on a spread, Calari's spread, or I like playing her as the money line.
Yeah, so like we said, this fight most likely is gonna be closer. The line dictates. So can't go wrong taking the dog. Even though I have a slight lean on Judice, the slight lean doesn't mean that we're gonna tell you to take minus 330. That's a pretty high implied probability, like Hot Hand said, for someone with only the limited experience she has. So don't break your
Yeah,
bank on the
I
first
would
bout.
definitely not play her money line. Do not play Judas's money line. She does not deserve to be minus 300 whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll move on to the next bout. And we have Jackson McVey here against Bruno Ferreira. We broke down Jackson McVey a few weeks ago. He was supposed to take on originally he was supposed to take on Cedric Dumas, and then he was supposed to take on Christopher Ewart. Dumas couldn't get the ankle brace off, and then Ewart weighed in like 10 pounds over. Jackson McVey did weigh in though, for his show money, and he looked solid. He didn't look scrawny. He's very big for the weight class, which he's like 6'4", has a 77 or 78-inch reach. Um, he's a solid build. His frame is strong. It's not like this scrawny 6'4" guy. And then on the other hand, you have Bruno Ferreira, who is small for 185. It's a weird thing because we don't know a lot about McVey. He's getting these guys out of here in seconds. I don't think he never left the first round in his professional career. I know he left the first round in his amateur, but he doesn't have a lot of high quality competition yet. And his professional record, there's a lot that I like about him. I do think McVey is legit, and he can be a guy that can stick around here. He's young. Um, he's technical with his striking. He has some sneaky and sharp submissions like front chokes, Bravo chokes. He has stuff in his arsenal. He has very wicked clinch game. His knees, very sharp striking within the clinch. That's one of his high points, and I think that can be a factor here with how the size advantages and how the frames are. I have to lean Ferreira because of the overall deadliness and the experience, but it's like I don't see this line minus 550. I really don't. I don't, and it was worse before, like minus 700 around. I don't like. We don't know a lot about McVey, so he can go out there and get slept, and he could be a fraud for all we know. But when you're watching Bruno Ferreira fights, and when he's succeeding in the striking or on the feet, it's typically because the guy he's fighting is sloppy. Like the Stolfus or whatever, he was having success there. He's he's weak. He's not a technical striker. He's a brawler. He's getting in there and he's not throwing shit down the middle. He's just fucking going in there for a bar brawl. Same for well, not really Armand Petrosian, but he didn't really have a lot of success in the striking. against Arman. Um, Abus Magomedov, he had success there. Abus is a sloppy striker, not really much output. He's not he's not pinpointing shots. He's not grabbing you in the clinch and driving knees up the middle. He's not doing stuff that's making you uncomfortable. They're fitting right into Bruno Ferreira's game plan of just going crazy, hoping to land shit. I don't think that's what Jackson McVey brings to the table. I think he's a little bit more technical. I think he has more threats. And on the ground, Ferreira does have good jiu-jitsu, but Jackson McVey, I wouldn't say it's slept on because he hasn't really proved much yet, but he has some good jiu-jitsu. He has a tank. From what I've heard, he's a strong. I've heard that he's a very strong guy in the gym when it comes to training, cardio, and although it hasn't shown in his fight, just because he doesn't leave the first round, doesn't mean that he doesn't have cardio. And I think that he might have success later on as this fight goes because of the frame difference. So I'm gonna slightly side with Bruno Ferreira just because I don't know enough about McVey. But I would not be surprised in the slightest if Jackson McVey comes out here and shocks people. I won't. It won't shock me, and I probably will be taking a play on McVey just because of his value. I think this line should be more around a minus 200 for Ferreira, maybe a little steeper, but nothing at the minus 550 range. Nice play that I like for this one. It might be a little shaky. People might not agree, but um, despite McVey getting a lot of all first round finishes, and then Ferreira being a first round guy too, I think that their size difference is gonna keep each other on their toes. They're gonna be trying to establish it early. Over a half round for a parlay piece is like minus 300, but round two to start, yes, is you get that at plus 110, which I don't mind at all for round two to start. I don't know. That's how I see the fight. Numbers probably wouldn't agree with me because both of them are first round finishers. I just think that their stylistic matchup's gonna make the fight just go a little bit longer. I don't know about the over 1.5. Round two to start, I like, and I wouldn't be surprised if McVey gets it done. Honestly, the stylistic match is bad for Bruno Ferreira here. How do you feel about this one, hot hand?
Yeah, I'm extremely mixed on it because of first round finishers, and there's a big height disadvantage for Ferreira. But Ferreira has fought larger fighters such as RoboCop and Phil Haas, and even Dustin Stoltzfus, who he all put out. He just subbed Armin Petrosian, but then he also has losses to Ruzaboyev, who has the long reach, and the same with Abus Magomedov. So I'm very iffy on it because I don't know much about McVey, considering it's his debut. I mean, you could do the tape and all you see is first round finishes on him, but you will see he's very well rounded. But I do think that the height is going to have McVey being less aggressive based off he has the reach. Let me maintain it because he's not going to try and pocket fight someone like Ferreira who knocks everyone the fuck out. But I do like the round two to start. That was one of my plays going into this because Ferreira is nowhere near a minus 500 against the deadly finisher like McVey. So I would say I would probably only really suggest that you play round two to start if you're going to play anything. I don't think the odds on the money lines are worth playing, considering they're both finishers. Or if you do round two to start on like a single bet and then make a parlay, and you could somehow try and edge it because the round one finish, either one, just fight to end in round one is minus 145.
Okay.
But I do lean Ferreira though. I do lean Ferreira. I just think his experience. I don't think McVey is going to be able to take him down to show his jiu-jitsu. I think how small and compact Ferreira is, it's going to be hard for someone as tall and like lengthier as McVey to really get him on the ground. And Ferreira does have good grappling himself. So I think this fight is going to be on the feet, which I think McVey is just going to outstrike him being more technical and keeping range, or Ferreira will knock his head off. I think it's one of the two.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, this fight is way closer than the line. But how do you feel about this one, Unk?
So, I mean, we don't need to re-say what we all just said. I'm just gonna take like the fight, like how it ends. KO is -200, and then I don't know. I'll play around with KOs and same game parlays and everything else. But like, what is gonna happen, in my opinion? Jackson McVey is So we already taped him, and it's been established he has a big, large, huge frame. This has already been touched on, but his clinch work, I'm talking that is elite clinch work. It's been a minute since I've seen a tall guy that big, that strong, and be able to actually do that where they're actually tied against the fence, and he's thinking, "Are I need this guy."
Hot hand. You hear him breaking up a bit, or is that just me?
Times before I break off of here. I mean, you don't normally see that. And
Yeah, he's breaking up.
Unk, you're breaking up a bit. Yeah, I think we lost him.
Yeah.
Lost Unk.
One thing also that I kind of thought about. I feel they put this fight together for fireworks. Like they put two fucking first round finishers on a stacked ass card for Dustin and Max. I think that it's going to be an early finish.
Yeah, they kind of hoed Jackson McVey here. They kind of screwed him. Hope Unk figures out what's going on. Can't even see anything. He's typing right now. I think he is.
Yeah, I ain't too sure, but
that's
I think Ferreira is gonna fucking KO him.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson McVey can get him in some dirty clinches though, and get some knees up there, make this shit dirty. But I'd have to ride with Ferreira at the end with the lean. But as Unk was saying before he broke up, elite clinch work from McVey, where he uses the knees up the middle, is going to be big for him to try to win this fight. But at the end of the day, can't go wrong with a dog at that price. But they kind of gave him a bad stylistic matchup here. So I'm gonna lean with Ferreira too. We'll move on to the next bout. Yeah.
Also, I want to point out too, because the takedown props didn't land yet. With McVey being a good grappler, they may have like over 0.5 takedowns or something at a reasonable price. But I would definitely be interested in taking the under because I don't think he's getting Ferreira down with how small and compact he is. I would definitely look if it's a playable line at an under on takedowns for McVey as well.
Yep. We move on to another fight, a little less exciting than that one. That's gonna be in for some fireworks. But it's we got Ryan Spann, another fight here at heavyweight for him, as he takes on Lucas Brzeski. Oh, this one pained me to research. They're both really bad. Like watching that Ryan Spann versus Waldo Costa fight again, like after watching it live, like that was painful. I just watched Brzeski tape last week because he fought Walter Walker and he fought Kenny Nzejuku. What it comes down to me is I don't think this fight's going to the ground necessarily. I don't think Spann's strong enough to be able to will and hold down Lucas Brzeski, who went 3 rounds with Walter Walker, and now it's 265. Walter he beat Walter Walker by decision. And that was 265-pound Walter Walker, who had crazy top pressure and stuff. So I don't know if Ryan Spann's gonna be able to hold him down, being even smaller. I think it's gonna play out on the feet. And surprisingly enough, I think that Lucas Brzeski has better striking. He has better kicks. He swings first. The only thing that scares me for Brzeski is the times that he gets knocked out. It's usually like an exchange where he's throwing. He just gets clipped on the left side of the chin. And Ryan Spann does throw a decent. If he throws anything decent, it's that like left jab and then right overhand combo, like just 1-2. And I could see him catching Brzeski with something like that. I just don't really see Ryan Spann having the power, the real power to hurt Brzeski to get him out of there. Um, this fight I don't love either. It's gonna be an unpopular opinion. I got Brzeski as my lean. Um, I like it in the later rounds, maybe even a decision, which sounds crazy as well with these guys. But I just think that Ryan Spann doesn't really have the power to knock out Brzeski, and I think that Brzeski, um, he may hurt Ryan Spann. I don't think he's gonna get him out there either. I think if anyone gets finished, might be Spann. But this fight, I don't like it at all. I hated researching it. It's hard to find value. I do think that the fight to go the distance at plus 500 has a lot of value, considering neither of these guys are really good. Brzeski has decent submission defense too, so I don't really see Spann using his jiu-jitsu effectively. Fight to go the distance plus 500 as a lotto. I like round two to start. Yes, again here minus 115. You're getting decent lines for 5 minutes with two very low power guys. When Lucas Brzeski's getting sat down, he's getting sat down by guys like Kenny Nzejuku. Uh, and he was out striking. You know, he was up there with the striking with Nzejuku. I don't know why I'm forgetting who his fight before that was. Let me pull it up. But he had another fight where he gets finished, but he was leading into striking. He's a very talented striker. And I think that he can get one here against Ryan Spann. Where's this? Oh, no, not Mick Parkin. Before that, even against Waldo, he was boxing Waldo's head off a while back, and we saw how bad Waldo inflicted damage on Ryan Spann. So I'm gonna have to lean with the plus 200 trash guy rather than paying minus 250 for Ryan Spann. But overall, I want to just take round two to start. I wouldn't throw your bank on it, but I think that there's value there for it being a pickup line. Either these guys are outright dropping bombs. I think we can last 5 minutes. But how do you feel about that hot hand?
Yeah, everything you said, I agreed on. I also did like the round two to start. I don't think Spann's going to be at the disadvantage on the feet. I think personally, and I don't think Brzeski is really going to put it on him in the first to get him out of there. And I could see his takedown defense holding up on Spann, as Spann they're pretty much the same height, and I don't think he's really going to muscle him or anything of that nature. And I don't think Spann's going to have the power to put him out. And Brzeski's coming off of a loss. I'm almost positive his last was with Kennedy. He's coming off a bad streak of losses. Yeah, Kennedy and McParkin. Then he beat Walker. He got knocked out by a Costa. He lost to Chaos Williams. Or is that Chaos Williams?
That's Carl.
Oh, Carl Williams. Yeah, fucking Carl Williams. But no, I don't really like this fight. I wasn't really intrigued in it once I seen that they were fighting. I think they're both pretty shit fighters, if I may say. Ryan Spann has much more experience, though, which is what I'm kind of worried about and what I really had to think about. But I think he's going to really try and get this fight to the ground because I think he's going to have the striking disadvantage. And I could see Spann crotch sniffing this for 3 rounds, just looking for subs and getting denied and getting stuck in like a full guard situation. But my favorite bet on this one is round two to start because you could play that as a straight. And with two low level heavyweights, yeah, it's a dangerous bet, but they're also low volume. They're not really going out there and fucking going crazy in the first opening minutes. So I would definitely say round two to start. And if you're not going to play that, there isn't much value on Spann as well. So I would take Brzeski as the underdog.
Unc, have you figured yourself out yet? Are you there?
Yeah, the Catholic Church kicked me off the internet. Anyway, so yeah, so McVey and the other guy, they're gonna KO. They're not gonna see the judges. I don't know, man. I don't feel what you guys are feeling at all. I think Lucas Trashcan Brzeski, he got KO'd by Mitch Parkin. And Kennedy is a solid win, but then he got KO'd by Cortez Acostas. I mean, that's like a hit or miss because that guy either goes to the decision or KOs you. So I don't know. You guys are all in for the trash can. I am not betting a guy that got knocked out by Mitch Parkin to knock out Ryan Spann. I'm
Oh no, I
sorry.
like it by
I'll
decision. I have it.
Oh, all right. All right. Because I'll sit at the end of the table with a dunce cap on for that one before I bet this cat got knocked out by Mitch Parkin. He's gonna come here and smash Ryan Spann. Get the fuck out of here. But anyway, this is a heavyweight fight. Ryan Spann, how many heavyweight fights has he actually
This
had?
is his
You know what I
second, I
mean?
think.
It's his second. Like, I don't know. It's all over the place. I can see more though. Ryan Spann putting out trash can Brzeski over trash can Brzeski doing a KO, but like y'all said, a good pick round 2 to start. I mean, I think that's a good pick. I mean, if I'm gonna go overall with my gut though, I'm gonna go with Ryan Spann's double chance by KO or sub minus 185. This is at heavyweight. I don't see how these guys get the decision. I think they'd be sloppy in the third round and fall over in exhaustion before they reach the judges. I mean, Ryan Spann always. I don't have. Let me pull his thing up real quick. Like, how many decisions has he actually been in? Like, he don't do decisions. Like submission, KO. You got to go back to Anthony Smith was a decision in 2023, and I'm not even that's a scratch in my eyes. So you go back even farther. We're looking at 5 years here since Ryan Spann's been in a decision. So I'm taking Ryan Spann's money line to finish this guy over this trash can guy got knocked out by Mitch Parkin finishing Ryan Spann. That's my opinion.
Okay, I could hear that.
I just don't think Spann's power is going to equivalate well up to the heavyweight division.
Yeah,
And I don't think now that he's fighting larger fighters, I don't think he's going to be able to get Brzeski down where he would have the advantage on the mat with the grappling department. And Brzeski's going to be packing a lot more power than Spann is used to. Like Spann's getting knocked out. Like, yeah, he's fighting legit fighters at light heavyweight like Guskov and Johnny Walker that put him out, but he's also not used to that heavyweight power. So I think him moving up is kind of going to be bad, and it also makes me think of how serious is he also taking his MMA career now that he's moving up a weight class after how many fights is he starting to get old and feeling fatigued after weight cuts and etc. So
yeah,
I
he
don't
looked
know.
kind
I
of
think
shaky.
him moving up to heavyweight is kind of a downfall for him, and it's not going to be good.
I do want to
Right?
see them on the scales because in his debut for heavyweight against Waldo, he looked very out of shape. He was like 240 something, and going from 205, and then he's like 248 or something along those lines. Yeah, that's still bigger than Brzeski. Brzeski moves around like 230 something or high 230s. Um, he's a striker by trade. He has some really good hands, some really good kicks too. He's gonna be beating up that leg. So, I don't know. Like I said before, this fight is terrible, and I'm not. When I say I like Brzeski, yeah, it's a lean, but I'm not gonna be over here telling you to hammer anyone because for some odd reason Ryan Spann's minus 250. He has more experience. Brzeski, his chin, he can get knocked out. I don't think Spann has the power to knock him out. I don't think Spann has the power or the same type of technicality as a Kenny Nzejuku. Um, even the Waldo Costa one I watched, and he was the whole first round he was beating Waldo. He was kicking Waldo's legs off, and he was beating him in the exchanges. And then they were brawling, and then Waldo just caught him with a right hook, a strong right hook that he throws, flailed it out there, and caught him right on the button, putting down anyone at heavyweight, in my opinion, the way that he hit him. But yeah, I'm not gonna over here tell you take both of these guys are trash cans. So early in the card, can't
Also,
really.
Brzeski's record is 9-6.
Yeah, he's
So
like 1-5 in the UFC or something like that.
I'm not betting a 9, even if they're going up to heavyweight. I hear what y'all are saying. I hear yous. But this is one where I'm gonna go out on my shield. I'm not betting a 9-6 guy. against Ryan Spann. I'll die with my old age before I bet a 9-6 guy against Ryan Spann. So
Ryan Spann's has a terrible UFC record too. If you look at his record, he's like 9-6 in the UFC or something like that. But he's not really getting wins at the top level either. But
well, I enjoyed him in my life. Okay, I didn't enjoy this other guy.
I think that this is a cut fight. I think whoever loses this fight is getting cut.
That's 100%.
So that might be some motivation. Ryan Spann's more of a fan favorite. We'll see what's going on. I'm not paying -50 for Ryan Spann. I'm gonna lean Lucas Brzeski, but it ain't a strong lean. But we'll move this one over to another inflated bum. Jimmy Crute is sitting over here at -300. Oh, hold on, let's see what Max said. Max said Dana throwing out low-level fights and calling them bangers because they're both not defensively sound. Yeah, honestly.
What's up, Max? Fucking Max.
Honestly, you can't. I couldn't put it any better than that. But you have Jimmy Crute here taking on Marcin Prachnio, and this is another fight, bro, that I'm just looking at, and I just don't know. Like, for me, this is a clash of styles. You got a wrestler, Jimmy Crute, well, a wrestler, BJJ, whatever, a grappler, and Jimmy Crute versus a pure striker in Prachnio. Prachnio has some wicked strikes. Like that, I don't know if whoever's watching this, take your time and go check out Modestus Bukowskis versus Marcin Prachnio, and Bukowskis is like closing range and has him against the fence, and Marcin Prachnio snapped the closest head kick I've ever seen in my entire life, and hurt him bad. Like they were right next to each other, and he just snapped it up there, and he was picking apart Modestus's legs bad. He has really strong kicking.
He did it karate style. Like they were like 1 foot away, and he just lifted it.
Lifted and just on the butt and hurt him. Have him doing the chicken dance. You gotta take a look at that. But
being that big, that's something you got to look at.
And then you got Jimmy Crute and Prachnio. Jimmy Crute, I don't know. He came back. We had him as a dog. I think he's like +100 if I'm not mistaken. In his last bout against Rodolfo Bellata, and they ended up drawing. He had like a 10-8 round in the first round. Almost got the finish, and then lost both other rounds. It's clear to me how this fight has to go. Either it goes on the ground, and Jimmy Crute's gonna sub him because Prachnio has been subbed by some lesser competition, and he looks like a fish out of water down there. His takedown defense doesn't look atrocious, but it doesn't wow me either because Bukowskis took him down multiple times, and that was the first takedowns he ever had in his career, and that was 9 fights in to his UFC career and his first takedowns. So I think that Jimmy Crute's going to have a sense of urgency to get to the mat and get this sub to get him out of there. That's the most likely odds on the book too. It's like +180 around there for the Jimmy Crute sub. But I also I think that on the feet is lava for Jimmy Crute because we've already seen him get his leg obliterated before. Prachnio is a way better leg striker than anyone he's ever faced. And then you also have Jimmy Crute is allergic to taking his head off the center line. Like, he is allergic to striking defense. So, I can see Marcin Prachnio picking this dude apart, throwing head kicks. He has some wicked stuff. But I still have to slightly lean with the grappler and Jimmy Crute. He has some really good BJJ. I think at any time this gets to the mat, which should be his sense of urgency, which he should be running over full speed, shelling up, and just bringing this dude down and putting him in arm triangle, because that's his way to victory. Otherwise, Prachnio is live for a knockout. I'm gonna lean Jimmy Crute by submission, but this is one of those fights that there's multiple ways that I could see the fight going down, and it's another fight that like moneyline might not be your best route. I think Jimmy Crute wins, but do I think he's -300? No. This might be another one of those fights. Whoever loses gets cut. Another thing that stands out to me here is the age discrepancy between Prachnio and Crute. Let me pull it up real quick to get the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty large. It's a 8-year age difference. Prachnio is 36 years old, and then Jimmy Crute is coming up on 29. in a month, so about 7 years, 7, 8 years, around the same height. I don't know. I think Jimmy Crute's gonna be able to get him to the ground and sub him, or at least hold him down. And if he does it,
Like,
if he's not able to, he's getting slept.
like, because I'm just gonna play into your pick. Like, honestly, my pick for this fight was the same pick.
The under two
So
and a half.
Unks, no, I thought you were. I'm sorry. I'm doing Jimmy Crute by sub
Well, that's like my
or
lean, yeah.
yeah. So I'm doing Jimmy Crute by sub or Prachnio by KO. The either the
Oh, the
or,
double chance.
and
Do you
it's
have that up? Do you have the
yeah
odds up for that?
yeah yeah. It's minus 105.
I
So
like
like
that. Yeah,
that's my bet. That's what I was going into this
I do like
because
that. I'd probably rather take the under 2.5 at minus 155. You're buying a little bit more juice, but on the odd chance that Jimmy Crute like pins him down in a
and
bad
and
spot and
and
just
elbows
yeah,
them or
and just
something.
volumes his
Yeah,
way. So you can get saved a
I
little
think.
bit, but I don't really see that as a high chance probability. I think that either Jimmy Crute's going to go for the sub when he's down there immediately because he has such a big advantage, or that Prachnio is going to catch him sleeping with his bad striking defense and he's going to get put out. I like the under 2.5 here at minus 155 as my play. I don't really see this one going to the final horn. Uh, I know you just touched on it, so if you want to finish that up.
Yeah, I just need another 30 seconds. I'm because what you said is what I'm gonna say. Like the fight literally comes down to the leg battle. Jimmy Crute is one of the weirdest fighters I ever seen, man, taking leg kicks. He don't know how to check nothing, and then his head and his lateral movement is god awful. So if he can't bull rush Prachnio and get him down on the ground, I think I think Prachnio can take his legs off. If Anthony Smith took his leg off, I definitely think this guy can take his leg off. So Ung's pick is minus 105 DraftKings, Jimmy Crute by sub, or Prachnio to win by KO. Yes, it's only two possibilities out of a lot more, but we're gonna take the judges out of this one, and that would just leave Jimmy Crute left with the KO. And yeah, it would be
How do
Jimmy
you
Crute
feel
by the KO.
about overall? If you have to make a selection on your lean for the fight, who would you be picking?
Jimmy Crute by sub.
Or how about you, Hot Hand? What's your synopsis? What's your breakdown on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna repeat what you guys said, but it's a fucking blind person could literally see it. It's either if Crute could get him on the ground, Crute's gonna manhandle him with the grappling, and if it stays on the feet, Marston's gonna pick him apart. So it's really if Crute could get him down or not, but we know that's gonna be what he's going for. So I'm interested
Oh,
in
hold up.
seeing the
I don't.
takedown props. I just looked on DK; they're not on DK yet, but whenever they drop, I'm going to be interested in looking at whatever they have that line at. If it's over like a 0.5 or over 1.5, I would maybe be interested in playing that. But if not, I'm sitting this one out because it all comes down to if Crute could get a takedown, and I'm not going to bank a pick on Crute getting takedowns because it's fucking Jimmy Crute for you know what I mean. Like so, like
Yeah,
I said, I'm only touching takedowns on this one, but it's also Crute is a lot younger, so is Marcin gonna have fucking grown man strength against them and be able to stop some of these takedowns? And who knows? Like we could go out there and Crute gets fucking head kicked in the first 30 seconds, because you
yeah.
know, as Mac and Unk both said, that he has no fucking striking defense whatsoever. So, like I said, I'm not touching no money lines, no no round props, but once the takedown props get released, I'm going to be interested in taking Jimmy Crute.
Yeah, his line would probably be like, I don't know, guess like 1.5, 2.5. I don't really know what it's gonna be. I doubt it's a half line though. I very highly doubt that.
Yeah, yeah. I would expect it to be at 1.5, but if it's 2.5, I'm probably going to take the under because if he gets him down twice, he's going to find the submission in those two takedowns.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we're all pretty much in agreement on that. Keep this one moving, and we have thing that I hate the most is these up and comers with these juiced ass lines, man. We have Islam Dulatov and we have Adam Fugitt. But I don't know. This bout, I think I like Islam Dulatov. He's a very crisp striker, very a lot of speed on his strikes. I wouldn't say he's a great grappler, but he does have some knowledge in the grappling. You can see that when people are shooting lazy ass double legs, he has the ability to lock in guillotines or to threaten with stuff like that. Um, I think this fight takes place on the feet. I don't. Fugitt isn't really much of a grappler. He's an upright striker. I know for a fact. In his last bout, we took Josh Quinlan or John Quinlan, whatever Quinlan, and he was fucking up Quinlan's body with body kicks. He's an upright striker, kind of gives me Muay Thai vibes. I'm not really quite sure on his background, but from what I've seen in his bouts, great kicks, good timing. Islam Dulatov has a way faster twitch in my opinion. Um, and throws more volume. Minus 600 ridiculous, but I guess I can't really say it's ridiculous yet because he fits right into the type of games, right into the type of style that's good for Dulatov. This is not going to be a grappling match. Dulatov's only loss was in his debut. I watched that one earlier today against an Albanian guy who's like 11-3 I think in his career. He's in Octagon, which is not a terrible organization, a regional organization, but not top level. But he just got grappled. That was pretty much it. He just got wrestled and laid on. So it was a really short guy. I don't think that's going to be the game plan here. Fugitt can't really grapple. And I think Dulatov might even have the grappling edge if they decide to go to the mat with his submissions and stuff. So I'm going to take Dulatov by knockout. Um, I don't know if it's going to be as fast as some of these other knockouts. He's getting all these knockouts in the first round, but they're against cans. Even his Dana White Contender Series fight, I'm watching it and I'm like, who is he fighting? Like they set that dude up for failure. He was getting punched on. He almost made it to the second round. So I think that the round two to start in this one could also be a play. Um, that line is at around. Let me pull it up. I think it was minus 105 or minus 115 for this one to go to the second round. Let me double check just in case I have it up right here. On DraftKings, round two to start, yes, is minus 120. I like that. Yeah, it could be not a pick that I'm as confident as like let's say the earlier fights that I said. But I do think Fugitt is a good enough striker to not get automatically sat down. He went 3 rounds with the likes of Michael Morales, and even then when he got put down, he wasn't out conscious. He just got dropped. Um, I think he has enough of a chin to last around. Islam Dulatov, though, is very fast in his striking. He takes strikes, too, though, so he's going to be eating a couple of these. Former former model for Versace and shit like that. I think he said that he only had ever one black eye in all of his fighting career. One black eye. So, I think he's going to have a black eye in this one. I think the round two to start is live. I think Dulatov, this might go later in the rounds if Fugitt could um, be tough in the pocket. They're around the same size, and I think Fugitt has the reach advantage. So it could be exciting. I'm not laying minus 600 on Dulatov though. I don't advise you guys to do that either, but I do think he gets to finish by knockout. How do you feel about this one, hot hand? I know you had some questions about Dulatov earlier in the week for me.
Yo, hold on. I got one question. A hot hand. Have you seen Figgett's wrestling?
I didn't tape Figgett, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't tape this fight. I ran out of time. But I do remember watching him with what's that cat's
Quinlan?
name? His fucking last fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
Quinlan or whatever the fuck his name is.
Before you started, I just wanted to, if you watched his wrestling, because he was doing reversals and was going for the ankle pick when they were on the ground, and picking the ankle from behind.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Well, the thing that scares me with this fight is Dulatov's cardio, because this dude's putting out 14 significant strikes landed per minute. Like, I'm sorry, but fucking Marab is not keeping up at that pace. Like, I think Dulatov is extremely fresh to the sport, because even when he's stunning opponents and wobbling them, he fucking shoots. Like, he has low IQ moments. He empties the tank early. He gets finishes early. So it makes you question now that he's fighting actual competition and the knockouts aren't going to come as easy. Is he going to fucking gas out just going for them and exploding the entire fight, which makes me question why he's even a minus 600. Yeah, Dulatov has extremely crisp hands, and he unloads when he gets someone wobbled or he's in the pocket and backs him up. He unloads with fucking 1,500 hooks. Like, he just throws hooks and hooks and hooks, and he really unloads. But is he going to be able to keep that pace? So I think if you're going to play Dulatov, take him round 1 or round 2, because his money line is not playable. I'm not touching that, even though, yeah, he's extremely good, but he has that potential to gas out. But now if it does go after round 1, I'm going to be looking to live bet Figgett or Fugitt, whatever the fuck his name is. I'm going to be looking to live bet him, knowing that Dulatov he's not going to be able to keep that pace up. Yeah, I could see Dulatov winning in round 1, but I think if it gets out of round 1 and we see Dulatov throw crazy combinations and 15 punch combos again, that Figgett would be a great live bet considering his gas tank is in question. So I would not touch the money line. The round prop is in question because now that he's coming up and fighting these better fighters, I don't think he's going to be able to find the chin as easy. So I don't know. This fight, I have a lot of questions about. I'm going to have to dive deeper. But as of now, I don't know. I'm extremely mixed on this one.
Yeah, I feel that. Unk, what's your piece you were saying?
I'm I'm riding whoever found round 2 to start
Oh
because
yeah, minus 120.
yeah, I'm riding that because I spent time trying to find a pick for this guy today, and we don't normally do same game parlays because it's not available to all our listeners and subscribers. So I was having a hell of a time finding something with this, and then I taped Figgett. I taped Figgett I taped Figgett, and his wrestling was really impressive to me. Doing stuff that like you would have to be a high level wrestler to know how to do, like doing it in reversals. Knowing how to pick the ankle and going for the right angles. And I don't know who it was. He elbowed the guy and KO'd him, but the grappling to me for Figgett is not in question at all. If Dulatov can clock him out of there and empty his load in the first or second round, because I entered in the first round, or well, yeah, the first or second round, then I think Figgett is the super live bet pick to take. But up until that happens, I'm gonna ride round 2 to start on that. I think Figgett is gonna be smart enough and have enough that veteran prowess in the cage. We're talking about this guy. This is his first UFC fight. Like, I think Figgett's gonna have enough where he'll be able to do some type of clinch work, get the fight to the second round. And I was really impressed by some of the stuff that he it's like stuff Weidman and stuff used to do, and now you don't see the regular wrestler guys do. And he don't got the tattoo on his back, and he was doing the high level grappling stuff. So I'm not worried about Figgett on the ground, and I think that he can do enough clinch work to get it round too.
All right, so we're pretty much saying that Dulatov is very live with his striking, but the overall take into account that Fugitt is a veteran. He's shown that he is durable, even though he has been finished before. He is a durable fighter, and Dulatov's still pretty much unproven at this level. So don't put him at minus 600 in your parlays. Is pretty much the main point of this. I'm still gonna lean with Dulatov. I think he can get it done. But the longer the fight goes, Fuga he's pretty adept on the feet. He's stronger in my opinion than Dulatov is more of like a wiry kind of build. Even though they're the same height, I'm pretty sure he's just a different body type. I think that might hurt him here, but I do think that he's gonna be able to get enough strikes off to at least get like a volume TKO or something. but it's not a max confident play, and I don't think that minus 600. Out of all the guys that I've seen that have like the prospect wise, he's not a guy that's telling me. I think that Jackson McVey is more legit than Islam Dulatov is, personally, like as a prospect. Um, so I don't know. They're different weight classes, but you know what I mean. It's just people stand out to you, and I like the striking of Dulatov. I don't like the competition, so I'm gonna lean with them, but it's not a hard lean. It's definitely not a minus 600 lean. We'll keep this going
Yo,
then.
I wanna
Yep.
I
Definitely
wanna add this
going
in
to
quick though,
600.
but once the fighter props drop, definitely look at Dulatov because we've seen it over and over and over and over that he fucking unloads early. So I'm looking for if I see like a reasonable
See,
line
I got
and
takedown
I
props.
got a what's up?
I got takedown props, but they're from the fight that we're about to go to on. Like they didn't drop for the other ones yet.
Okay.
He's talking striking.
So striking too, same thing. But what were you
All
saying?
right.
Yeah, I would definitely look at Dulatov though. I think he's very live to smack the significant strike over just based on how he unloads. But if you guys are liking round two to start, I would possibly mix that with Figgett because I would take Figgett and round two to start because I think if it sees the second round, Figgett's UFC experience, his way better cardio is going to kick in, and he either finishes them late or he wins the decision.
Okay. Yeah, he's more alive than his line is. But here we go with another juiced bout. We have here Teba Gautier, Robert Valentine. Teba Gautier, prospect coming up here. He's already fought in the UFC, but he has a lot of unknown surrounding him. Has a lot of that, and he just fought Jose Medina, I believe was his last bout. A dude with like a stone chin that everyone was like, this dude can't get knocked out. Yeah, he got Teba Gutierrez has bombs for hands. Like he throws some legitimate, real power that can knock out anyone in the division. Um, what worries me with this line of minus 552, which is all these big favorites. I don't think that any of these huge favorites are really that we spoke on so far are good enough to have this line. Minus 550, minus 600 for a Ted Gautier. I think he can knock out Robert Valentine, but Robert Valentine, it seems like every time he gets into these fights, well, any type of fight in general, it always ends up hitting the mat, even if it's not good for him. And in this one, he has a way better jiu-jitsu game than Octavio Gautier, like way better. And he's very slick with it. Like he could put some stuff, and he even though he lost to who's that bum Torres Finney. Also, watching that fight again made me want to shoot myself. I forgot how terrible to watch Torres Finney is. But Valentine overall, he was threatening him with Kimuras and stuff from the guard, even though it wasn't successful. That's against a wrestler, a pure wrestler in Torres Finney. So a guy that's going to be more adept into stopping that type of stuff. If a Teba Gautier drops Robert Valentine, which is highly likely in my opinion, he better watch in the guard, like trying to chase him down, because Valentine had people like Ryan Loder in trouble on the ground with transitions and stuff. And Ryan, we know how good Ryan Loder is with the grappling and stuff. Um, he ended up losing, getting crucifixed, and dropped
He's
elbows.
legit.
But
Ryan Loder's legit.
Robert Valentine has really good grappling. He has a grappling advantage in this one, jiu-jitsu wise. I just don't really see a way he gets to the mat other than getting dropped. Which is a high likelihood though. So I'm gonna take a Teba Gautier by knockout as my play, well, as my lean, which is obviously the most popular thing here. I'm looking at some of the lines to see if we can get anything that's in the realm of normalcy. I'm not seeing a lot here. Uh,
So Michael, that's my pick. It's minus 250 DraftKings. What do you got? Anything better?
uh, I kind of like submission only money line Robert Valentine plus 110. I don't see him getting submitted by Teba Gautier. I think if anyone gets submitted, it's Teba Gautier. So plus 110 line right there. You get a void with anything else but submission. Just found that one. I like that because you get a void. Gautier is most likely gonna knock this dude the fuck out. So like, you just get your money back. But let's say he does the only other thing that I think can happen is a sub from Robert Valentine. You're getting that at plus money. So I like that sub only money line at plus 110 for Robert Valentine. Um, I don't want to play around with round props because Valentine's tough and he can hold on maybe. He might not get knocked out in the first round. But he can also, with the hands of a Gautier, anyone can get knocked out automatically. So not a fight that I love from the perspective of lines. I'm looking at takedown props. Robert Valentine plus 300 for a takedown. That could be a shot in the dark. Because that's his method of victory. Like, he's not going to sit here and be like, yo, let me stand up with some guy who's walking around with fucking little boy and fucking whatever the other nuke was on his other hand. So,
Yeah, but he's getting knocked out, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah, but yeah, he's going to get knocked out more than likely. That's my thing. I'm looking at I just don't. A Gautier under 30 and a half significant strikes. I think that it takes him less than 30 punches to knock this motherfucker out, honestly. Um, yeah, but like I said, now I love you guys take over from here. How do you feel about it, Unc?
The only playable play that I have is Gautier by KO is minus 250, so that's what we're rolling with. I mean, I think I'll build an individual same game parlay, and it gets down to like minus 175 if you take the minus if you take the under rounds and the KO and Gautier, it gets down to like minus 175. But that's only if you can play DraftKings. But that's what I'm picking for the fight. But hey, I like playing the void too. Uh, at plus money, but I think he's getting scorched, man. So that's my pick. Gautier, same game parlay, minus 175, under 2.5 rounds KO.
All right. How about you, Hot Hand?
Yeah, I've been extremely high on Gautier. I remember him from Dana White Contender Series. He fought some Japanese cat, and he was some sort of wrestler. He was like a freestyle or folk style or Greco-Roman Japan representative in the Olympic Games, or he was a Olympic level wrestler. And Gautier was defending takedowns. I'm pretty sure he did get taken down and reversed them. And even when he dropped the Japanese cat, he didn't hesitate to ground and pound them. So I'm not very worried with Valentin's grappling in this one personally. I think Gautier is just too big for him, and I think his power is legit. And with his power, it's like fucking Francis Ngannou level power. But he also has the technicality behind it and just not swinging overhands. So I think I like Gautier. If you take him KO/decision, it gets the odds down a little bit from his money line. But the only concern I have with Gautier is that he's extremely fresh. He's only 6-0 as a pro, but he does have a lot of fights under his belt for only being 23 years old and having pro fights already. So with that being said, I did like the submission only with Valentin, how you were saying, but I'm probably gonna nuke Gautier KO/decision on a parlay and then hedge it with Valentin sub only because I think Gautier is gonna knock the fucking chin off him. But I don't see Valentin landing takedowns on this dude. I think he's too big, and he does have wrestling if he was defending Olympic level wrestlers from Japan. And Japan has some legit wrestlers that came out of there. So
Yeah, yeah, I get what you mean. Um, so wait, Unc, you did your spill already? Pretty sure you did, right?
yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, so we're pretty much
Yes,
all in
sir.
agreement here that Valentin gets his head knocked off. I just have the slightest worry that Gautier follows him into his guard and gets cooked in something random. But I think that he's gonna knock him out. That's my overall lean for it. If you take the sub only money line, if you're worried, I think that's the only way that Robert Valentine wins is by sub. That's the only way I can see him winning the fight. And for the low probability chance, you can get it at plus money though. So, and nothing. I don't hate voids. I love voids. We all love voids here. I'll take my money back any day. So keep that into account. We'll keep this one moving now. We go over to Francisco Prado and Nikolai Vererennikov. So, um, man, this card's a little different. I was watching this one, and I'm not high on Prado.
Vererennikov is older than me, cat.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, they have like a 13. I think it's 12 or 13 year age difference in this bout. Prado is still up at 170. He's small for the weight class, obviously. He's fighting at 55 before. Um, he fought Jake Matthews previously. We had Jake Matthews as a lock that week, I remember. But he took Jake Matthews down to the ground in that bout. Didn't hold him down, but he took him down with strength. That stood out to me. He does brawl though. He tends to just not be coordinated in his striking. He's just throwing a bunch of bullshit out there. Hooks and like just wailing, trying to get into brawls. And I don't think he's big enough to try to do that against Vererennikov. I don't really know how this is gonna go down because Vererennikov's a pure striker. He's bigger than Prado is. He has good takedown defense. Obviously, he got taken down by Vander, whatever the fuck his last name is, that he just fought before on short notice. But that guy's always taking people down. Prado's not that type of guy. But Vererennikov doesn't throw as much volume as I'd like for him in this matchup. He's bigger. I think he's 3 inches taller and has like a 4 or 5 inch reach advantage. I think the jab's going to be solid for him. I just don't think he throws enough. He has really good head movement though when it comes to his striking, so I think he might be able to get out of the way of a lot of Prado's bullshit that he throws. I don't know. I think this one's going to go further than a lot of people think. I think the line for it to go the distance is minus 150. I think this bout is going to the horn. I don't think Vererennikov's getting slept by Prado. I think he has a good enough chin and head movement to survive. This one, it seems like it should be clearly Prado should be the pick here, but the size disadvantage, I don't see him being able to hold Vererennikov down. The more technical striker is definitely Vererennikov. Uh, the age is what concerns me though. With Vererennikov, he's so much older than Prado. Is he going to be able to keep up with the energy? I think that he's going to get out volumed and have more oohs and ahs coming from the side of Francisco Prado. Prado is only 23. He has more ahead of him. The UFC succeeds more, or not succeeds, benefits more if he wins rather than a 36-year-old Vererennikov. I'm going to side with Francisco Prado to get this one done via decision. But I wouldn't be surprised if Vererennikov somehow edges a very close one. I think this fight's going to be close. Split decision props might be in play here. I think this one sees the judges at minus 150. I'm curious to see what you guys think, though. How do you feel about this one, Unc?
So what worries me is I want to see Vererennikov at the weigh-ins because, like, from what I don't know, from what I saw, like on general online clip this, clip that, he looks like he aged in his last couple fights. Like I want to see it at the weigh-ins, like what he looks like because I don't think the years have really been too good to him. But Prado's really young, but like you said, he's wild in the striking and is very unorthodox. But at the same time, like he's a pressure fighter, and I don't. It's first of all the line. I don't think the line. Well, I don't know. I think the line is okay, but I think Prado. This is more like a pick'em fight to me, man. Like I don't know, minus 160. I don't know.
Vererennikov actually opened at minus 185.
Okay, and wow, that's a big swing.
Yeah.
Uh, um, See, I'm more like to me, it's more of a pick'em fight, and I can see Vererennikov, getting a split decision win in this, being smarter and being able to control the rhythm of the fight and the tempo of the fight. So I'm gonna take Vererennikov spread. It's -165 plus 3.5. That's my pick.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that. You have the lineup right now for that.
Yeah,
Can you check what the plus seven and a
I've
half is?
yeah, I'll pull it up right now. Hold on.
Yeah, the 7.5. That's probably gonna be a little juiced, but that might be.
Hold on. It's -245.
That's not like ridiculous. How do you feel about it though,
Plus
offhand?
plus 5.5 is -205. So yeah.
How do you
I'm
feel?
gonna need weigh-ins to really decide the final factor. But the only thing is that, or I think the Vererennikov's age is gonna be the advantage here because Prado only wins by finish. All of his wins are by KO and sub. He's 6-0 KO, 6-0 sub, and he's 1-3 in the UFC. His only win is the same cat who just got knocked out by Michael Johnson, and he lost to fucking trash can Jamie Mullarkey. And if you lose to Jamie Mullarkey, sorry, Max, but he's fucking shit. Like Mullarkey is the lowest level UFC, and you're losing to him. So I think Nikolai Vererennikov or whatever the fuck this cat's name is gonna win this fight. I think it's gonna be a decision or a late finish, but I don't think Prado is honestly that good. I think Vererennikov, he came into the UFC, he fought Austin Vanderford or whatever, and Sam or Danny Barlow, who are both good competition, and then Prado was fighting Cans. So I think Vererennikov is very live as the underdog here, and I do think he edges out a decision. But I do like Vererennikov, like his money line, and maybe a round 2 to start or a round 3 to start because I don't think Prado is going to put him out. I think Vererennikov is going to have a solid game plan here, and he's going to beat Prado because I think Prado is still green, and I think he's still newer to this, and I don't think he's really going to be able to put Vererennikov away as all of his wins are by finish. But I do want to see what he looks like at weigh-ins because as the older you get, weight cuts get harder and you become less out of shape. So, like I said, I'm going to wait till weigh-ins, but as of now, my pick is Vererennikov money line.
Okay. Yeah, I was teetering back and forth with the Vererennikov. I think Prado is extremely sloppy, and that's what scares me here against a guy who's compact and a veteran striker, who I don't think is gonna get finished. So I'm gonna lean with Prado just because the age, and I think that he might get the judges nod. But yeah, I can easily see Vererennikov using his the veteran prowess and his superior technicality in the striking realm to keep this one in his grasp and win a close decision. Either way, I think it's going to be a contested fight and might be live lines. If you might be able to get Vererennikov after an early onslaught from Prado, because you know how Prado goes out there and swings religiously off the jump. You could see Prado go out right there, move up to like a -300 favorite after hurting Vererennikov, and then the fight actually really start kicking off, and Vererennikov take off with his technicality, and you might be able to get him at an even better price tag than +130. Like I said earlier, he opened at like a -180 favorite, so I don't know what's going on. I don't want to take Prado. I don't feel highly on him, but I think Vererennikov's on his way out. And like Unk said, he looks like the age isn't hitting him right. I don't know, it's gonna be a close and tested bout, and we'll keep an eye on it. We'll definitely keep an eye on weigh-ins for that one. Now we keep this going. We got a nice bout here for us. Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. I'm surprised this one is a prelim. Marvin Vettori goes from headlining a fight night card main event to the prelims. So I don't really know what happened here, but this one, I still don't really know what I'm doing with this one. I think this fight's gonna play out on the feet. I think their grappling is gonna neutralize each other, and this one's gonna turn into a striking battle. I just don't know what I'm gonna do. I have a slight edge, I guess, on Brendan Allen, but I don't think that he's. I just don't think that Marvin Vettori's striking has real pop on it. It's pretty stiff. Like we faded him against Roman Dolidze. This is a different stylistic matchup, but like I don't know. I think that Vettori. This one's gonna go to the judges almost certainly. I'm curious to see what that line is on this one to go to the judges. Let me have it pulled up right here. Over 2.5 at minus 345. So you're touching minus twos for the to go the distance. Vettori plus 3.5 at minus 170 kind of intrigues me slightly. Uh, I still don't know who I'm picking overall in this fight. I can't really give a lean. I'll say I lean Marvin Vettori. I just don't know how serious he's taking stuff anymore. I think he does need a win to get back. I think he does have to get back on the win column though after that loss. Um, I don't know. I feel if it's a bad day for Italy, you went from having gladiators and the top warriors in the world, and now your top warrior is Marvin Vettori. So bad day for Italians. I'm gonna lean with Marvin Vettori, but that means nothing because I still need to see the weigh-ins. I still need to dive more into this one because this is one of those fights that it's weird for me. It's very weird. How do you feel about this one, hot hand?
Yeah, originally I was on Brendan Allen, but the more I kind of dove into it, I figure that their grappling is going to cancel out. And if you ask me who the better striker is, I'm going to say Vettori. I don't think he's going to throw more volume, but I think he's going to land the bigger shots that are going to cause damage, cause swelling, possibly a cut. So I'm going to lean Vettori here. I think he's going to cause more damage, like I said. And Vettori is not getting finished. If anyone's getting finished, it's Allen. Vettori never been finished in his life. I think he's going to be packing the bigger shots. And Brendan Allen isn't much of a striker, but I would be hesitant on playing Vettori. Vettori's money line straight, but I am liking Vettori plus 7.5 because there's no way Vettori's going to get finished here. And I do think Vettori's going to win, so I don't see how he can't steal one round from one judge.
Yeah, I'm just still trying to look at the difference. He's only 31, so Vettori isn't like very old here. Allen's 29. They're around the same age. They're around the same height. With 2 inches difference, you got Allen with the height advantage, but there's nothing that's really standing out to me. I don't know. How do you feel about this, Unk?
Listen, y'all got to remember, I know Vettori better than anybody in this group. That's who the guy I got kicked off Bleacher Report for calling the fight right. He has fallen from grace and did not look good in his last fight. So this is all about the weigh-ins, man. I don't know what he's doing, who he's training with. I know he changed camps. He wasn't running with the same guys. And then I read something about that he was having money problems, so he was needing to fight and whatever. But the point is, he's the better mixed martial artist if he shows up on his A plus game, regular day game plan against Brendan Allen. So I'm taking Marvin Vettori money line and I'm pulling the gun on it, and that's my pick because I don't see how if Brendan Allen wins, he will win by decision. So that's out there. But if Marvin Vettori loses to Brendan Allen, then the UFC they got to cut Marvin Vettori because he's not making it anymore. So, but I'm gonna say Vettori if he shows up right, he beats Brendan Allen 8 out of 10 times. So I'll ride with the money line.
Yeah, it all depends on how he shows up. I do occasionally watch another YouTuber. Mike Finch. Shout out him if he sees this video somehow. But he trains at King's MMA and he sparred with like Marvin Vettori and he's been around him. And he said that he's been grinding. He's a grinder in the gym, so I don't know how much to take that. Obviously, he's gonna talk his guy up at the same camp. He's MMA, so but that's something to think about. Maybe he does actually care about his career, especially after that loss to Roman Dolidze. I think he might realize, yo, I need to I need to lock in here. And I think that if this line, let's say like he didn't fight Roman Dolidze and then he had this line immediately with Brandon Allen, would he be this big of a dog? I don't think so. I think it's some recency bias on that loss to
Absolutely not.
Dolidze.
If you take the Delete out, absolutely not. He's not a plus 170.
So I think you have to think that take that recency bias into account. It's a close battle. We have to look at the weigh-ins. That's what Gems is for. That's what the Fade Factory Discord is for. We got to see these face-offs, especially with this fight. I want to see what type of shape Marvin Vettori is before I put any type of money on him. But we'll move on from that one.
Best advice on that, though, what you just said. You need to see what Vettori looks like before you put money on him.
We got Vinicius Oliveira and Kyler Phillips. I like this bout. Kyler Phillips, more the grappling approach. Vinicius Oliveira, a striker, but in his last bout against Saeed Nurmagomedov, we saw he could display some grappling prowess. So either Saeed's a fraud in the grappling realm, which I know he's a striker first, but he has some wicked front chokes and stuff like that. Either he's a fraud or Vinicius Oliveira has some solid top game. He had over 7 minutes of control time in that bout, which was very shocking for us. Pretty sure we had Saeed in that one. Well, at least most of us, or two of us, we had Saeed. But yeah, he has some wrestling on his game. He has some wicked striking, you see, but he does gas. And he does show weakness because he against Bernardo Sopaz before he sent him to the land of the unknown. He was losing, so I don't know. I don't really know how much you can trust from this Oliveira. I don't think Kyler Phillips is that guy, so to say. I don't think he's going to be able to use his grappling to fully, um, fully take over against Vinicius Oliveira. He's got. I was watching him against Rob Font. Yeah, he took down Rob Font, but there were moments that Rob Font had him up against the cage and had him gripped up. And Rob Font is well rounded. Uh, I don't really think he's that strong of a grappler. And if you're letting Rob Font grip you up, I think this Vinicius Oliveira, if Saeed is not a fraud, it showed that he has some grappling. He'll be able to hold his own in that realm, and this one will play out on the feet to an extent. Where I will gladly take Vinicius Oliveira. I've seen his line getting as low as minus 140, minus 135. So, I think there's value on his line. I think that he has some promise, and I'm more of a believer now after the Saeed fight. I still do want to watch a little bit more Kyler Phillips, and I do want to see them at Wayne, see the build of Phillips, and see how much, if he's any bigger or any stronger, that he's going to impose his will. But as of right now, I'm going to take Vinicius Oliveira, and I'm going to take it by knockout. I think that he can find a late shot. Wouldn't be surprised if saw the judges, but I think he finds the late shot against Phillips. How do you feel about this one, Unc?
So I'm taking Oliveira all the way, man, because I taped Kyler Phillips and I taped Oliveira. I think Oliveira is the nastier striker, and also like I really don't like the vibe of MMA that Kyler Phillips brings, and I think it works against some type of fighters, and Oliveira I don't think is one that it works against. So what I mean by that is I don't know what the name of it is right now, but I'm on Tapology and Kyler Phillips is like it has their strategy. It says like freestyle wrestling, Muay Thai. His is something I've never seen before. I don't recognize the name. So I copy and paste it and it says It's a combination of 5 mixed martial arts brought together, and it's supposed to be some form of hand-to-hand combat. And I scroll down, and it says the person who invented it and the people that do it, Kyler Phillips invented it. So he lists his own fighting style that he invented as what his main thing is when he competes. Like, I think Vinicius Oliveira is going to kick his head off. That's corny as hell. Like, I don't know. And then, I don't know. I did watch his abilities. He does have, like, some okay striking from the pocket and some unorthodox striking. But I think Oliveira just brings way more to the package and is, like, a very strong and heavy, like, kicks to the body and has, good hips and can defend any type of takedown that Kyler Phillips is. That is now that will be the downside if Kyler Phillips is able to wrestle Oliveira down and hold him down. But I just think Oliveira is not going to lay on his back, so I'm taking Oliveira money line minus 160.
How do you feel about that one, hot hand?
Yeah, I've been on Oliveira. I think it's this matchup is more favorable for Oliveira. I think he's the nastier fighter. I think his takedown defense is going to hold up against Phillips. I think after that loss to Sopaj, he really did work on the grappling because when he fought Saeed, he was stuffing the takedowns. I had to watch the tape back on that because I don't remember it. But I think Oliveira is very live here. I think he's really going to fuck Phillips up. But the only way I see Phillips winning is like a very close split decision. So I think I'm going to play Oliveira at plus 3.5 just in case it's a crazy split decision. But I am going to play Oliveira's money line. But for like a nuke or like a nuke play that I put more units on, I'm definitely going to be conscious of that, and I probably will end up taking his plus 3.5 at probably somewhere around minus 200 something.
Here, let me look at it right now just to pull it up, just so we can have a have an idea of what we're looking at with that plus 3.5 spread. We got for the alt spread for Oliveira, you're at minus 295, so you're getting to a little bit of juice, but that's still realistic.
Yeah, I don't see Phillips finishing Oliveira whatsoever. More of a decision type of guy. But I mean, I do think Oliveira is going to win. So I would not doubt you in taking his money line. But I just like to be safe, like I said, when I'm throwing more units on plays. And I could see a somehow split decision Phillips. So I just want that safety to sleep better at night with Oliveira plus 3.5. And Oliveira is very, very big for the division. And I could see him knocking out Phillips. I'm not going to lie. We just watched Phillips like a minus 500 against like 38-year-old Rob Font and got his ass kicked. So,
That was his line in that fight. I watched that fight. I didn't know he was minus 500.
yeah, bro, he was juiced as fuck. He was a huge favorite in that and then got picked apart.
Yeah, so that's alarming. But yeah, we're pretty much all on Vinicius Oliveira here. We understand that Kyler Phillips could make this fight a little closer than the people think. Well, the line's pretty close, so I guess people think that it's going to be close. But um, we're riding with Oliveira here, and we're going to keep this one pushing. And we're about to head to the main card. Before we get there, we're over here. As always, this one's brought to you by MMA Gems and the Fade Factory Discord. The Fade Factory Discord's free, link in the description as always. And then MMA Gems is our premium section within Fade Factory. We have Cage Warriors, BKFC, uh, One, PFL, all the PFLs, PFL Main and PFL Europe, PFL Africa's coming up. Obviously, UFC, Dana White Contender Series coming up next month. Wherever you're looking for MMA, shit, Power Slap's gonna be coming to the court soon once it's available in our region. But at the end of the day, you're paying $10 a month. $10 is the price of lunch. People like Home of Fight don't want to throw any shade, kinda, but they're charging $25 a week for consistently losing plays. They're putting consistently losing plays on there, and they are charging you $25 a week. You pay $25 for 3 months of our insight. It's a no-brainer. People are in that for hype. You gotta play this realistically. Inside the Fade Factory court, besides the MHNs, we have a university section with hours of lessons and videos teach you to be a more educated gambler and to make sure you're betting right. You're not just guessing. Then when you go over to the premium section, you have people where we've made over $50,000 our uh for our subscribers within the last, I'd say, 3 cards. UFC 317 alone, 20,000. Last card, I was on. I was pretty drunk, so I can't really tell you how much money we won, but it was a good amount of money. All profits here. We're doing good on the cards, and like I said before, the price of lunch or the price of 1 week of Home of Fight with Matty Betts and all those grifters, you get 3 months of documented, long-term, profitable plays with guys that are gonna one-on-one with you and explain stuff. We're gonna break down how to do stuff. We're not just chatting. We're not just going off of noise or public aura. No, we're doing the tape study and we're finding these plays. So the choice is yours. Like I'm saying every single time, 2025, get right or get left. That's all I gotta say. We'll go over this main card. We got Daniel Zellhuber and the corpse of Michael Johnson. And I got to do two birds, one stone on film study when I got to see Prada versus Zellhuber. And yeah, Zellhuber was getting beat to the body a little bit earlier in the fight, and then was starting to manage his range against Prado to be able to beat up with the jab and his kicks. He doesn't. I noticed that he accepts leg kicks, not the best. Michael Johnson might be able to capitalize on that, but I don't overall think that Michael Johnson's style translates well as he ages. I don't think he has a style that's going to stay unbreakable. I don't know. I think that Zellhuber definitely has the advantage on the feet here. Minus 550. Uh, I don't know. I don't think I can ever lay minus 550 for someone who lost to Trey Ogden. But I do think that this is the Zellhuber spot for a knockout. I don't think that Michael Johnson is done yet. I don't know if it's gonna be a. I don't think it's gonna be a quick finish. I think this one might be drug out a little bit longer. Maybe third round finish, late second round. But I'm gonna lean with Zellhuber for sure on the knockout. But how do you feel about this one, Hot Hand? I know that you're dialed in on Zellhuber.
Yeah, this is a complete mismatch. I guess because Zellhuber's coming off a loss against Ripovics, but even then, even in the fight with Ripovics, you could have very easily gave him that split decision. It was the fight of the year for a reason. I mean, that was an absolute war, and you're facing 39-year-old old Michael Johnson, who yeah, he's coming off a knockout loss, but it's the same cat that Prado knocked out that it's his only UFC win, so it doesn't hold much weight. But Zellhuber is a complete mixed martial artist. He could do everything. He's good on the ground, good on the feet, good takedown defense, which I see Michael Johnson's only path of victory is a takedown, but he is not going to take down Zellhuber. Zellhuber is like 14 years younger as well. He's going to have, I think, the advantage everywhere, personally. The size, the strength, the volume, the speed, grappling, anything you name it. I think Zellhuber has the advantage. So I said it a million times, but I'm going to nuke Zellhuber's money line. I don't know if I mean, I could take it. You could take it straight and put like massive units and get a quick come up on it, or you could mix it. But I'm playing his money line in some sort of parlay, and I'm also going to play his KO slash sub because I could see Johnson shooting and getting caught in a darce or a guillotine, or Zellhuber dropping him and he follows him on the ground and ends up submitting him somehow. But I think his double chance KO slash sub is very live as well, but Zellhuber is 100% the lock of the card.
How do you feel about that one, Unc?
Well, it took the words right out of my mouth. I'm taking Zellhuber by KO or by sub. I followed Michael Johnson's whole career from the time he came into the UFC, his first fight, to all the way to now. And he has very well coaches. He comes from a good camp. That's the only thing that keeps him around. But Zellhuber is going to be too much, man. Michael Johnson don't. I saw a clip of him hitting pads like 10 days ago. He doesn't have the same like speed and quickness like that is really like his was his trademark thing. And also like he's way overrated in jiu-jitsu, dude. He in the past people used to say that his grappling was good. I personally, throughout the years, never seen anything that showed me that he's like a high level grappler. Like, does he have wrestling? Yes, but like actually on the ground, like he's been submitted. He doesn't do well, like in submission scenarios. And I think Zellhuber gets the win one way or another. So the double chance.
Yeah. So,
Minus 115 on DraftKings.
so what was that?
Minus 115 on DraftKings.
Okay, that's a realistic line for sure. Um, yeah. So overall, Zellhuber's the play. I'm personally not playing his money line at -500. That's just out of what I usually do. I do think that he's gonna win this fight though. I do think that Michael Johnson it just isn't in the same level that he used to be. Like I was saying, he doesn't have the same pop. He just doesn't have the same energy as usual. I will be curious to see the weigh-ins. Obviously, Zellhuber does have that lengthier frame or that I don't want to say scrawny, but wiry frame. He might accept some clinches. He gets good knee work up the middle. I'm gonna side with Zellhuber as well. I think he gets the finish here. We'll keep moving on though, and we got another banger in my opinion. We got Dan 50K Ige taking on Patricio Pitbull. Um, this one I think it's gonna take place on the feet. I see a lot of people saying like Patricio Pitbull's grappling is gonna be the difference. I don't really know if that's gonna be the case. I don't know if he's gonna be able to consistently hold out Danny. And I think Danny has some. Danny doesn't have like negative grappling. Like it's not like a bad point on him. I think this one's gonna take out mostly on the feet. I don't think even if Patricio Pitbull is able to get him down at some point, I don't think it's gonna be like he's gonna stay on full mount and be able to hold him down for that long. And I will say Patricio Pitbull has been knocked out by guys that are way less than UFC level. Dudes in Ryzen that are like 8-4 getting slept. I don't know, Dan Ige. I think that personally that Dana White is trying to just show that these Bellator guys aren't on the same level as UFC, and he's giving them bad stylistic matchups. You saw that against Jair, and it is a little bit different because Jair is a little bit of a different striker. He's lengthy, but Dan 50K Ige has one thing that Patricio Pitbull has been shown to be sensitive to, and that is real power. And I think if Dan Ige can connect very cleanly here, which he does it a lot of the time, if he gets into a brawl, I can see him putting Patricio Pitbull down. I will note that the line is starting to get a bit steamy. -210, it's not like that anymore. I've seen -220s, -240s on some books. So that's getting a little steep. I do really like Danny Ige though in this fight. I think he can land this finishing blow. And get Patricio Pitbull out of here. I'm gonna say Danny by knockout, but I would not be surprised if I see a decision because of the veteran versatility of Pitbull. It could play a little bit. It could play a little bit closer. Dan Ige -3.5 spread might be decent because you can cover the knockout and you can cover a possible 30-27. But I'm gonna ride with Dan Ige on the money line as my prediction. I think he's gonna get this done by finish. How do you feel about this one, Unc?
So I'm taking Dan Ige by KO or decision, and that is minus 200 on DraftKings because Dan 50K Ige sorry, Patricio Pitbull, but you're past your time. Like, you know, you had your Bellator stunt, but now this is UFC, and I I am not impressed with your performance. Like George St. Pierre once said, I'm not. I haven't been impressed with him, man. You know, and I think Dan Ige is gonna come in and take it personally and be like, you know, this guy's coming over and I'm the guy that shows up. So KO or decision -200. But overall, their skill level, it Dan Ige is a better striker, but Patricio Pitbull is like wild, and their grappling is about the same. But I just think Dan Ige is a more technical striker and can put combinations better than Pitbull can. So I think he'll outland him, bang him up, and you know they'll wrestle and it'll cancel each other out, and then it'll be decision Dan 50K, or he'll land. Patricio has a tendency to lose his cool and you know start to throw wild stuff, and then he might get caught and get you know knocked out. So we'll see.
And you hot hand.
Yeah, I was mixed on it. But when you look, all of Ige's most recent losses are to taller, like faster strikers like Diego Lopez and Leo Murphy. So, and you know, Pitbull is not that. You know, they're taller than Ige, so they had the reach and they had the speed advantage. But Pitbull is 38 years old. He's obviously going to be slower than Ige. Ige, I think, is better on the feet. Personally, I think he holds a lot more power. And like Unk said, he mixes the combinations up better. But I feel Pitbull is going to have the grappling advantage slightly. But I don't see him getting Ige down based on how small and compact Ige is. They're pretty much the same exact size and like body frame. But I am leaning Ige. I think he's going to be better for the promotion if he wins. But I don't see Ige getting a finish. I think it will be like a 29-28. Maybe Pitbull lands big shots in a round or stuns him. But I think Ige is going to win a decision here. I don't see how Pitbull's method of victory would be personally.
Yeah, I only think I could see Pitbull winning and maybe a close decision if he somehow can establish the grappling, which is a point that a lot of people are making. Um, but I think it'd be desperation grappling, if anything. I don't think he's going to be able to handle the power of Dan Ige if he's not able to handle the power of some PF Chang workers over in Ryzen. Um, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. He is a veteran though. They are known to pull things out of their hat, but like you just said, hot hand. Dan Ige fighting lengthier strikers, even like higher competition levels. Diego Lopez, he just fought for a belt. Very competitive. Dropped Volk. Um, then you got Laurent Murphy. He's on his way to a possible title fight. He beat Josh Emmett, who was a nice guardian of the division, who still hasn't lost yet in a 5-rounder. So like this, and Danny had Laurent Murphy hurt. So I don't know. I think that he can get him out of here. Uh, Pitbull's getting a little up there with age, and I think that Dana's setting this up to embarrass some of these Bellator guys. But I think it is, and I'm gonna side with Dan 50K Ige for the knockout. But be cautious on the juice. I'm not paying -250 on it, but I wouldn't mind taking like minus. I feel like I should have took him earlier in the week, but I think that -190 ish is respectable. -200, we're starting to push it a little bit, but I like Dan 50K Ige here, and so do the other two. Oh, here we go. On to the next bout, and we got Kevin Holland and D-Rod. This bout is just wah wah. I don't really know how to describe it. One thing I'm gonna make clear: I don't advise you to take Kevin Holland money line. I will say, out of all the people that are juiced to shreds, I think that he is the best one. I think that he might be my lock of the card. Kevin Holland might be the lock of the card for me. I just think that I don't really see any way that D-Rod could get this win. I think Kevin Holland's gonna bounce him up on the feet with his range and his length. I think he's gonna be playing around in there. And I think if it hits the mat, obviously Kevin Holland has the advantage in the jiu-jitsu game. I think that his striking is just going from the outside is going to chew up Daniel Rodriguez, and I can even see him getting a finish there on the Erod. But I'm going to go with Kevin Holland by uh, the method's a little shaky. I could see him winning pretty much any method, honestly. But I think that he's the play here. I would probably rather advise you go give money to a homeless person for drugs rather than pay minus 500. But him inside the distance probably wouldn't hurt. But how do you guys feel about this? Anki, you might as well just go first.
So last fight, I said what I said, and I'm sticking by it. Like, I will never bet on Kevin Holland again. And I even had a petition going for him to give his black belt back. Then, oh, what? Last fight, he just shows up, and now he knows jiu-jitsu and striking again. Like, I don't know, man. You never know what you're going to get with this guy. So, I personally, I don't want to bet on him. But minus 500 is crazy because Daniel Rodriguez, for what he is, still packs a punch and one hell of a 1-2. So if Kevin Holland screws around and does get caught by that, he could get sit down. I mean, he's been screwing around. He's been getting caught. I don't know what his deal is. So I don't have a take. I personally think Kevin Holland is going to win the fight. How does he do it? I don't know. Does he use his jiu-jitsu? We'll see. Is that the smartest route instead of standing in front of Daniel Rodriguez with the power 1-2? Yes. But I don't know, man. So Kevin Holland, but it's minus 500, and I don't want to play around with the odds because, like I said, I'm not gonna bet on Kevin Holland anymore. Like he may redeem himself in the last fight, but he screwed around in the two or three before that. So I'm done.
I
But I
do
think he
think
wins.
that you're holding a grudge on him for the RDR fight still because he got mauled. But like, we do see that RDR is actually possibly legit.
Yeah, okay, he is legit, but I think he handled the fight wrong, and I think he's handled a couple fights in between wrong. But I think Kevin Holland should use his jiu-jitsu, and that's the way that he wins by being, the faster, sleeker striker, getting in and using his takedown and different type of, trips and using those trips into jiu-jitsu and using his game and using he was a second degree black belt. I mean, I've personally demoted him down to just a black belt, even questionably, but we'll see if it comes into play. So
How do you feel, Hot Hand?
Yeah, I mean, Holland is clearly the better mixed martial artist. I think he's going to beat the shit out of D-Rod personally. I hate that the line is this juiced. Um, Method of victory, because I think Holland is very, very safe bet. But knowing Holland, he's going to come out and try fucking standing with D-Rod when I feel if it goes to the ground, he's going to sub the fuck out of him 9 fights out of 10 if they're just grappling. Like Holland does have very legit BJJ. It's just a matter of the fact that if he wants to use it. And like D-Rod got subbed by bum ass Neil Magny and he got knocked out by Ian Gary, and Ian Gary isn't really a crash out fighter. He doesn't really go for the finishes. He'd rather get the safe decision than the knockout, and yet he still put D-Rod down. So I think Holland's going to win. I think it's a safe bet that you take him to win by finish as well. I think he does finish D-Rod. Even though D-Rod he doesn't really pack power, he's more of a volume striker. But I could see Holland catching him clean as D-Rod's just trying to throw out volume and win off volume, or Holland subs him. I think the most logical finish would be Holland by submission, just based on D-Rod's grappling inabilities. But I do feel Holland is very safe, but I just hate how juiced he is. So depending on how I'm feeling Saturday morning, we'll say if I'm putting Holland in any lays or not.
Yeah, he's a bit scorched. You can probably get a double chance. I lean towards the finish double chance. I do know D-Rod's a little bit he's a durable guy, but he like you said before, he's been knocked out by lots of competition Kevin Holland trying to get out there as quick as possible. You can take the double chance of the knockout submission at around minus 150 ish to make it a little bit better. But then you get hoed if they go to the decision. I don't know. I think that he can win any method, so that's a little scary. Maybe if we look at if you try to do the DraftKings finagle, you take Kevin Holland money line and then over a half round, you get minus 270. So like now you have a parlay piece. I think it'll last over 2.5 minutes at the minimum. So you get a minus 270 like for a parlay instead of minus 500. So I guess that's the way you can go about it, but not much with how much juice is on there. But now we'll head over to the co-main event of the evening. Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. I think this is going to be a banger of a fight. I still want to look into it more, and I also Unk said this earlier in the Gem Premium Lab. This is a big weight weigh-in fight. Big fight to check out how Costa is doing in the mental game too, because you think about it, he's always having some nonsense going on, and how dedicated really is he right now? I haven't really seen much about him being locked in. I see a lot of him on Twitter making jokes, but I don't know. Roman Kopylov, a very technical striker. He's a sniper. He finds his blows, and he's. I'm just trying to think overall. This is going to be a volume fight, in my opinion. I think that the more pinpoint accurate guy is Roman Kopylov, but Paulo Costa throws a lot of shit, and he's going to be with a lot of pressure. I think this one goes to the judges more times than it doesn't. I think if anyone gets finished, it's going to be Paulo Costa getting caught by one of those snipers of a right hand from Roman Kopylov. But I do think this goes to the distance, and I don't know. I think this line's a little bit out there. I still want to do a little bit more tape and see the weigh-ins. I'm going to lean Kopylov just by the light striking advantage, but I really think that Paulo Costa's live, and he's getting slept on with some of these lines recently. He arguably, well, I don't know. People say he got the shit kicked out of him. I think it was Uncle we were talking about earlier. Got the shit kicked out of him by Sean Strickland. Some judge had him winning. I think it was a split decision. Uh, he's fighting quality competition. He's still there as a fighter. He has volume. He's not bad. I just think he's not as pinpoint as Kopylov. Kopylov did struggle somewhat against Chris Curtis though, and how do we value Chris Curtis against Paulo Costa? I'll leave that up to you, but definitely something to look at. I hope the line can get a little bit steamier. Paulo Costa at plus 200, you can't really go wrong with though. I think that's a little bit out of the range of his implied probability. Minus 250 for Kopylov, you're talking like almost you're talking over 70% implied with that line. So does he win 7 out of 10 times? It's around where I rate. I think he wins like 65% of the time. But I still have to look a little bit more on this one. This one's I don't want to sleep on Costa here. I think he's still a threat. He still has a lot of stuff in his arsenal, and I don't think he's completely done yet. He has his head screwed on straight, and he's been actually working and taking shit seriously. I could see him taking this one in a close fight, but I think Roman Kopylov, UFC is staking into him right here, and 10-point striking. I think he's able to edge Paulo Costa on the cards. The decision. How do you feel with this one, hot hand?
Yeah, I've been on Costa as soon as I seen the fight. I think Roman is a very good striker, but I don't see him really being able to counter Costa because he doesn't throw volume. It's hard to counter someone that isn't throwing as much. But when Costa lands, it's going to be the bigger strikes. He's going to have the clear advantage grappling. I think Costa's really going to use the grappling and clinch work to win this fight. I think Costa wins a close decision, or he could even put him out or sub him because we've seen Roman Kopylov, his only 2 losses, or he has 3 losses, excuse me, but both of them are by sub. So I could see Costa finding a sub or a knockout here. I think he's very alive. And if you look at it, Costa, his last 2 fights, I'm almost positive they were both 5 rounders. No, his last one was Strickland. Even if you look at the competition difference, Paulo Costa went from Sean Strickland to Robert Whitaker to Vettori to Adesanya. He's fought the way better competition than Roman, who, like Mike said, was struggling with Chris Curtis until he found that last second knockout. So I think Costa is very live here as a dog. I like a over as well, and I also like Paulo Costa plus 7.5 or plus 5.5. I'm always a safe gambler, so I'm more than likely gonna take the plus 7.5, which I think that is hitting 100%. I don't see how that doesn't hit with Costa having such a advantage in the grappling department. But like I said, I don't think Roman's going to be able to really counter strike him based off Costa not throwing much volume. I could see Costa landing a big strike to steal a land or a round that wobbles Roman, and I also could see him grappling his way to a round as well. So I'm taking Costa's spread. I'm not sure if it's going to be the 7.5 or 5.5 yet, based on odds, but I do like Costa a lot here.
How about you, Unc? What are you feeling?
I'm doing a triple stack, baby. I think number one, Costa could win this. Kopylov, like Hot Hand said, he hasn't fought the guys, and Costa has fought the guys. So as long as he shows up, he has a possibility to win. So and at plus 200 or plus 180, whatever he's sitting at now, it's just too good to pass up for me. So I'm taking that. But my main play here is Costa plus 3.5. I think this will go to a decision. And like I was at the Strickland fight, and that was a clear win for Strickland. One judge gave it to Costa like 49-46 or something like that. So obviously anything can happen, and that plus 3.5 is sitting at minus 150, and that's my number one play. But if you want to be safe, like Hot Hand said, plus 5.5 is minus 190, and then I didn't go over to the 7.5 because that's where I'm gonna stick at because I think going to 7.5 for me is too much. I think Costa can win the fight. So for me, but my main thing is plus 3.5 at minus 150. That's my pick.
Yeah, I
I
like
think
that
his power.
as well.
I think his power is going to be too much. Like as long as he lands one solid shot, it's going to be a wow moment to Kopylov, and
Yeah.
that's all that pick needs. So
All right. I can agree with that. So I do think Paul Costa has a good chance in this one. I'm gonna lean Kopylov though at the end of the day, but I still need to see the weigh-ins, of course, like I said before, and like Unc said, and I also want to run back some of the tapes again. I already watched. I see the stylistic matchup, but I really do want to dial in after. I love seeing the face off and then getting a glimpse back at the tape a little bit, so you can like solidify the read. I think that's what one of these fights that you have to do that. This could also be a beautiful live betting card or live betting fight card too. But overall, this fight could be a nice way to. It's gonna teeter back and forth. I could see momentum shifts on both sides happening each round. So um, it's gonna be a. I think that this is going to be possibly fight of the card. But there's a couple on here that I like. We're gonna go over the main event though, and I'm about to shed a tear. About to shed a tear. Retirement fight for Dustin the Diamond Poirier in his home state of Louisiana, taking on Max Blessed Holloway for the third time. He's 2-0. Um, this one too, man. This one is razor close. You had Dustin open up at a minus 150 favorite. Odds have flipped now. I've seen him touch as much as a plus 130 dog. So, um, this is gonna be a close one. You just look around. I just think that Dustin Poirier is gonna be a little too big for Max Holloway, and in the clinches and stuff, he's gonna have the meaningful change. I think the power is gonna be on Dustin Poirier's side. I don't think this one's gonna touch the mats really for an extended period of time, but Poirier obviously has the advantage down there. The boxing, I think crisper boxing is Max Holloway, but doesn't have some strong counter strikes. and like I said before, power. So, I'm just trying to think. I want to take Dustin Poirier by decision as in my overall lean. I feel like I have to. I don't want to be a biased guy. I would say that I would not doubt it's going to be. I think it's going the distance. Minus 130 is a respectable line for the fight to go the distance. I think it goes there. Um, but I think if anyone gets knocked out, it's going to be Max Holloway. I think he's the one that's going to get knocked out. If anything, I think I'm going to go with Dustin the Diamond Poirier for the decision win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Max edged it on a very close line. Dustin Poirier's spread might be a look too. How do you feel about this one, Unc?
It's in Louisiana. You got the homeboy going out in his retirement fight, man. I'm riding the diamond, baby. Like Poirier looks like he's in some of the best shape of his life. Yeah, Max has the better, crisper boxing, but at the end of the day, I think that Poirier has the more umph in his punches, and I think that he's going to be able to, put it on Holloway and get him out of there. Honestly, I think Max is gonna want to exchange too much, and Holloway is gonna have, or Poirier is gonna have the bigger, the more power when he does connect, and he's gonna get Max out of there, and Max is gonna get overzealous, gonna want to box on the best boxer in the UFC, and I think that's gonna get him caught up, and he's either gonna get slept, but Poirier's, the double chance KO by decision is like the same as the money line, and then you know there's always that 1 in a million that he jumps to Gilly and gets it in his last fight, man. But what's the problem? That's a high probability, but I'll probably put like a quarter of a unit on that just to say farewell to the diamond. But I'm riding with him, dude. I don't think Max outboxes him and puts him out, and if it goes to a decision, I think Poirier being in Louisiana, he gets the decision win.
How about you, Hot Hand?
Yeah, everything is pointing for a Dustin victory here. He's in his home state. It's his retirement fight. He's getting walked out by no one other than Lil Wayne. He's already 2-0 against Max. Max is known for his volume, and he's coming off a knockout, so that makes me think he's going to be hesitant to really keep throwing. He's coming off of a knockout loss against pound for pound number one in the UFC, Ilya, but I don't think he's really going to be doing what he usually does, walking you down, jab, jab, cross hook. Like, I don't think he's really going to try and apply that pressure and be more cautious of his chin, considering it just got cracked. And once it gets cracked once, they say that it's not there no more, or it's not as it used to be. So I think Dustin's going to have the striking edge here. He's going to have the bigger strikes. I think he's going to come out well prepared. We seen his last fight. He just took Islam to his hardest fight yet. That was a fucking war between the two. And Islam looked more fatigued than Dustin did. So I don't really think that Dustin's age is going to be a factor here in the cardio realm. And I think Dustin's going to win however he wants. If he wants to mix in the clinch work or grappling, or if he wants to keep it on the feet for all five. But I do like Dustin. I do like how you said about the spread as well, Mike. And I do like a over on rounds or some sort of significant strike prop landed as well. But I do think Dustin's going to go out and be 3-0 in the trilogy for his last fight. And then maybe, who knows, we don't see him retire if he wins and he gets that title shot against Ilya. But I do like Dustin here.
You're saying Max to get the title shot or Dustin?
Wait, what did you say there?
You said about title shot. What were you saying?
Yeah, I think if Dustin wins, well, this is for the BMF. I think if
Though.
Dustin wins, as he says, I don't know. I think if he wins, and Dana's like, listen, that was a great performance. How about one more go, and you get that one more chance to get the belt, and then he fights Ilya, which I think that would be the best case for the UFC personally.
Yeah, that would definitely sell out for sure. But I wouldn't really want to see Dustin get put out like that.
No, for real, bro. Ely is putting anyone out at 55.
Yeah, I think the only threat for Ilya at 155 is Arman Sarukian. That's my only. I think that's the only threat for him at 50. Oh, obviously Islam, but he's not at 55 no more.
I agree. I think Arman would 100% be his hardest fight.
But now we're all in agreement. We just knocked out the card, 14 fight card. I guess it's time for our parlay. We gotta get a parlay in here. Um, I have DraftKings open, so we could play around. I would say like I don't really care how juiced the lines are. I don't put no minus 500 in there, but some double chances can get put in there for sure. What do you guys feeling? You guys can think for a second, and we could throw something together. I know you want to have something with Zellhuber as your lock.
I want my Danny Gay KO or decision minus 200.
I will just take his money line, but yeah,
Yeah. Take the money line. It's only 18 less.
yeah,
It's his money line's minus 218.
yeah. What if he
Yeah.
subs
Okay.
Pitbull?
All right. Yeah. All right.
We're
Money.
gonna be like,
Okay.
no.
Danny Gay money line. That's what I want.
Figure out. I know you want to try to figure out how to get Zellhuber down.
Yeah, I was literally looking at it, and his KO sub is minus 115. But I don't even think that Zellhuber would entertain the realm of the shot attempts on Michael Johnson. I think he's literally just going to stuff him and back out because he is going to put it on him on the feet. So I'd say give me Zellhuber by knockout at plus 150.
All right, Zellhuber. To play it safe for the crew, we might as well go with the finish, just since we're in a parlay. And anyone who's
Yeah.
listening to this, you can take that as a straight. We don't want to give you too much of a juicer. But we got Zellhuber by finish. And then we got what Unc just said, Danny Moneyline. And oh, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. I don't want to. I guess I can't really play this because you're not only gonna be able to take it on DraftKings. Let me see if I can find something else quick. Um, I want to take Kevin Holland with the half.
Oh,
I think he's a lock, though. I really do think Kevin Holland's a lock.
no, he is. I'd say he's probably my second most confident pick, right behind Zellhuber,
Look
honestly.
around real quick and see if I can find anything slightly better. Yeah, I'll take this. A little juicier since you gotta pick 'em odds and Unc got minus 200. I'll go a little bit more on the safer side, and I'm gonna take Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier round 4 to start. Yes, minus 275 or minus 280. So we got yeah. I like my round 5 to start too, but we'll start with the championship rounds. I think that this one's is gonna go to the fourth, fifth round, contested brawl for the fans type shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
So with that, you get plus 270, which is respectable for sure. We've had parlays that are
Oh,
around that.
100%.
So you get run it back for you guys real quick. You can take this on any book. That's why I didn't take the Kevin Holland line instead. If you guys want to play with DraftKings, want to substitute my line, I was going to take Kevin Holland and over a half round at minus 270. So that's around the same line. If you want to take that, that's my first choice, but I want to leave that off so the people that don't have DraftKings can still tail. So we're at Daniel Zellhuber by finish, Danny Ige money line, and Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier round 4 to start. Yes, we're at plus 270 on that on DraftKings. I'm assuming you can probably get it slightly better somewhere else, but it's going to be around that realm. Plus 270, that's not a bad line at all. Let's hope we can get another one. Got our L last week, but we had 2 wins before that in our podcast parlay collab. Um, I didn't even mention though, it's a little outdated now, but we have our cycle parlay that we do every week, and wasn't the last card, but the previous card, we had a plus 4,000 hit for us in the cord in gems. So that's the type of stuff we're hitting. Well, that was actually in our free section. So that's the type of stuff we're hitting. We had Peyton Talbot decision, Alexander Pantoja by sub, and Ilya by knockout. Smooth. We're gonna have another one this week, but you're gonna have to hop in the cord. Link in description for that. And that's on votes too, so you're gonna have a say in it. Thanks for joining, as always, guys. Another great cord. This one ran a little long. We had 14 fights, so we had to do what we had to do. Thanks for joining, and we will see you at the cash counter.